Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, dear colleagues. Thank you for joining the UNJSPF Global Town Hall. We're going to be waiting for a few seconds while people start trickling into the call. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear colleagues. Thank you for joining. Hi, I'm Pilar Lagos, Communications Officer at the Fund, and I am here with Rosemary McLean, Chief Executive of Pension Administration, and Pedro Wasso, Representative of the Secretary General for the Investment of the UNJSPF Assets. Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, Pedro.
Good morning.
So before we begin our town hall, we'd like to thank everybody for submitting their questions ahead of time. We'll be addressing them here and we'll post a comprehensive Q&A on the website in the coming days. Also note that the recording will be made available in a few days on our website as well. Over to you, Rosemary.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Good day, everyone, wherever you may be around the world. It's a pleasure to be here and to provide you with an update on what's happening with our pension fund. I'm going to start with a bit of a note of celebration as we recognize the fact that the fund celebrated a very important milestone in December of 2023. The fund has existed for 75 years, and I think for a defined benefit pension fund, that's really something to celebrate. And so we're going to kick this off with a video that goes down memory lane and gives you an idea of just how far we've come in the 75 years of this fund.
In 1945, the United Nations was founded to promote international peace and security. A pension system was established soon after. Since its inception in 1948, the United Nations Joint Staff Pension Fund, UNJSPF, has provided retirement, death, disability, and related benefits to staff of the United Nations and other organizations admitted to membership in the fund. The fund has experienced remarkable growth. In 1949, it had 3,500 participants. Today, there are 144,000. Back then, there were only a dozen retirees and beneficiaries. But in 2023, the fund pays more than 84,000 beneficiaries while collecting contributions and paying pensions, totaling around $3 billion annually. To ensure the best service for its members, the fund has embraced innovation to enhance efficiency. Over the past 75 years, the fund and its staff have successfully adopted many new technologies. The fund has also expanded its offices beyond New York to be close to its member organizations and clients in Geneva, Nairobi, and Bangkok.
Our strategy since 2021 has been to improve client service, modernize pension services, and strengthen relationships with all of our stakeholders. It has really brought the fund closer to its members and will continue to pursue these objectives in the years to come. One of our key innovations in the past years has been the Digital Certificate of Retirement, which won the UN Secretary General's Award for Innovation and Sustainability in 2022. I'm proud that it's been adopted by more than 40% of our retirees and beneficiaries in less than 2 years.
The fund has 25 member organizations, with the United Nations being the largest. Under the overall supervision of the UN General Assembly, the Pension Board plays a crucial role in the governance of the fund. It is composed of representatives of member organizations' executive heads, governing bodies, participants, and retirees. Regular actuarial valuations and asset liability management studies are the guiding compass for the fund's financial decisions. They help the fund adapt and plan for the future, ensuring its long-term sustainability. The capital of the fund, constituted to cover future liabilities, has been managed efficiently and prudently by the Office of Investment Management. It totaled $8 million in 1949 and is now 10,000 times higher, close to $82 billion. The fund has weathered numerous economic storms, including the oil crisis of the 1970s, the bursting of the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s, the global financial crisis of 2008, and the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Our investment framework has been the bedrock of our success. It ensures transparency, accountability, and prudent management of the fund's assets for the benefit of all its members. Sustainability has been integrated in the investment policy and practice, with full divestment from fossil fuel, commitment to biodiversity, and net zero CO2 gas emissions by 2050.
The fund's goal is for its participants to retire with peace of mind after having served in the international civil service. This is the fund's contribution in support of the global missions of its member organizations. The United Nations Joint Staff Pension Fund, a legacy of service and accountability, and a promise for a sustainable future.
As I said, I think it's really something worth celebrating, and we look forward to the next 75 years. The next slide just shows the growth in this fund over the last 20 years. I think it shows the fact that this is a very healthy plan with growth in both plan participants and beneficiaries at a rate of approximately 2% a year. So we have 84,000 beneficiaries and 143,600 participants. That's over 250,000 people depending on us every day for their retirement future, and that responsibility is not lost on us at the fund. And the fund continues to perform. We have a very important benchmark that we measure ourselves against every single day, which is our ability to process entitlements within 15 business days of receipt of all documents. And I'm pleased to report that as of the end of 2023, over 92% of cases were processed within that deadline. At the same time, we also have this ongoing modernization effort to leverage technology to deliver better service to our plan participants and retirees. And you heard in the video the digital certificate of entitlement that we introduced. And I'm pleased to report that almost 40% of eligible beneficiaries are actually making use of that technology. Last year, we had 30,000 digital certificate of entitlements. This is the proof of life that's required by all retirees to submit to the fund. And so far in 2024, we've actually surpassed that number. So we're well on our way to having very strong results in that category in 2024 as well. For our retirees, our monthly payroll continues to be issued on time. We also had a COLA increase for 2024 as of the 1st of April for US dollar track at 3.4%. I think it also highlights the importance of the fact that this fund is protected against inflation. And at the same time, we've had to deal with disruptions in certain countries as a result of geopolitical issues, and we've partnered very successfully with our friends in the Treasury at UN to explore other means of getting money through, and they've been wonderful partners to us. One of the challenges we face, though, is we have an aging population. I think this slide says it all. If you look at the very top box, the number of retirees we had over the age of 90 in 2000 was just over 500. But if you fast forward to 2022, that number was almost 4,000. So this creates challenges not just for the Office of Investment Management, but also in pension administration, because as people age, they tend to require more servicing. And I expect when we update these numbers to reflect 2023, that trend will continue. Looking back at our pension administration strategy we called CARE, it was established in 2021, and it really had three strong pillars. One was to improve the service that we provide to both plan participants and retirees. The second was to modernize the fund and leverage technology wherever possible to improve the service. And the third was to improve the relationship we have with all of the various stakeholders of this fund. So in 2023, we did a review of that strategy and concluded that we wanted to continue to emphasize those three pillars, but also at the same time, we thought that given the state of our technology at the fund, there was going to be greater emphasis on modernizing the technology that we use day to day. So two key priority projects for us this year and next year. One is the UNJSPF Connect. That's the name that we have assigned to our new customer relationship management system that was named by our staff. And the second is to introduce multi-factor authentication for our member self-service portal. Some of the benefits of the new customer relationship management system for our clients is we definitely expect a faster resolution time, more straight-through processing, less handoffs as we work our way through various requests from our plan participants, more ways to get help through different channels, improving our self-service, and continuing servicing using standard notifications and enhanced visibility of cases and the statuses of cases. For our staff, we'll be able to see a single client view. Today, the systems are not well integrated and our staff struggle moving between various systems. That will be eliminated with the customer relationship management system, and we'll have more transparency when it comes to case management. For the fund itself, this is a real leading edge CRM solution. It's cloud-based, which enables security, greater scaling, and cost benefits. And it also introduced automatic testing tools, which up to now have been manual. In terms of the multi-factor authentication for member self-service, I'm sure that you leverage this technology with other organizations that you deal with, like banks, etc. But it definitely offers increased security, reduced risk, better control over the very sensitive data that we have on our database. We'll have a variety of authentication choices, and it simply conforms to best practices for financial institutions and pension funds. One of the critical aspects of our strategy was to improve our outreach initiatives and be more proactive in getting our message out to plan participants and retirees. So to that end, in 2024, we introduced monthly pension town hall sessions in both English and French, and we were really pleased to see the response. We get between 2,000 and 3,000 people attending these town halls. So if you want to know when the next pension town hall is, please check out our website. All of the dates are there. At the same time, we've also introduced new videos, more web news. We'll have an annual letter, which is going to be distributed by the end of the month. And we just introduced 11 new booklets, updated, offering information on a variety of different aspects of the fund. And we also have a new WhatsApp media channel to align ourselves with social media, and this will be another way of us getting our information out to those interested in what's happening at the fund. One of the many questions we received in advance of this town hall was just people asking, how can we contact us? Well, all this information is available on our website, so if you go to UNJSPF.org, and you can see there's a contact us page. That's the first stop. And then once you do that, you'll see that there's an opportunity to either send us a message on the left side there, give us your information, and simply send us an email, or you can call us either in our New York office, Geneva office, but we also have toll-free numbers for for countries around the world. I think we're up to 75 countries with toll-free numbers. And the contact center is available 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. So regardless of whatever time zone you're in, we are here to answer your questions and provide you with the information that you need. And this is probably the single most common question we receive, which is, when can I retire? The normal retirement age varies depending on when you join the fund. So if you joined before the 1st of January 1990, your NRA or normal retirement age is 60. If you joined between the 1st of January 1990 and the 31st of December 2013, your NRA is 62. And if you joined after the 1st of January 2014, it's 65. If you're interested in the early retirement age, again, if you joined before 1st of January 2014, your early retirement age is 55. On or after the 1st of January 2014, your early retirement age is 58. We also had a number of questions about how can people stay in touch with the fund. I think the first step is upon separation, you complete a payment instruction form. And there, it's really important that we get your personal email address. Once you retire, that's how we can keep in touch with you. There's also opportunity to update your information in the member self-service portal. And of course, if you move or any of your personal information changes, please, please, please inform the fund. We were also asked a question about what is member self-service. Well, this is our portal that we make available to both plan participants and retirees. And on that portal, if you're a participant, you can check and update your personal information, you can update your email address, and you can run pension estimates at a variety of different dates. If you're thinking about when you want to retire, you're considering 1 or 2 different dates, those pension estimates are available to you on the member self-service portal. If you're a retiree, then you can track all the payments that we've made from the fund to you, as well as your after-service health insurance premium deductions, update your personal information, email addresses, and you can track whether your certificate of entitlement was received by the fund. So it's a really important channel of communication for us, and I encourage you, if you have not done so already, to register for the member self-service portal. And we also get asked about what is the amount of my pension benefit, and that really depends on a variety of factors, including your age, your years of service, and your salary. I think it's also important to recognize that one of the most important benefits of this fund is that it is adjusted based on inflation, as I mentioned previously, and you have that pension estimate tool. So again, if you're playing with different scenarios, take advantage of that tool and contact us if you have specific questions. We were also asked about the actuarial evaluation that is actually underway right now. An actuarial evaluation on this fund is conducted every 2 years, and it's reported to the board. So in July of 2024, the pension board will receive a presentation on the actuarial evaluation, and afterwards, as been our practice, we will provide a summary of the actuarial evaluation as part of the broader board update. And if you're also more interested in actuarial matters as they relate to the fund, we have a web page available to you on UNJSPF.org. So with that update, I'm now going to turn it over to Pedro Coazo for an update on the Office of Investment Management.
Thank you, Rosemary, and it's always a pleasure to be here after a year where a lot of things have happened. It's always good to be in front of all of you, all our stakeholders, in order to show you what has been the evolution of our fund in the last year. As you could see, Rosemary took us through a long journey on our website, and I will do also the same. And there is a reason for that, because Since we arrived here 4 years ago, both Rosemary and I, we made a big commitment for transparency, right? At that time, we started putting and improving our website in order to put there all the information that we consider that is relevant for all the stakeholders of this fund. So we have done that. And last year, at the beginning of last year, 2023, we hired an independent party to make an assessment of our website, comparing it to other pension funds, and give us a rate to see how effective was our transparency in our website. We were surprised because even with all the efforts that we did before that, our score was 45 in 2021. We made another conscious decision and effort, and we started working as a team, both sides, the pension administration and the Office of Investment Management, in order to keep improving the information that we have in our website. We're very happy to report that after that work throughout 2023, we got a rate of 75. So we went up from 45 to 75. We still have places to improve. We're going to be improving basically the annual report that we put every year in our website. That will give us the additional points to get closer to 100%. But it is a great improvement in our website. And what I will show you in the next minutes is information that is included in our website that would allow each one of you to monitor and track the different and relevant parts of information that you would want to see in order to evaluate the size and the performance of our portfolio. We don't want that you only hear from us every year when we're here in this town hall, but we want to show you, what I want to show you is where you can go every week, every month, every quarter to see the most updated information so that you can have peace of mind on the trends and the evolution of the investments of our fund. So we will go through that. Also, another very important achievement that we got 3 years ago and that is continuous is all the figures that you see on the performance of our fund in our website. All those are produced in accordance with something called the Global Investment Performance Standards. It's a standard issued by the CFA Institute that big institutional investors like us, we follow. So the information is comparable with other institutional investors following these standards. And every year, we have done this for the last 3 years, every year we're audited. Additionally, we have another independent external auditor to audit us on the preparation of those pieces of information based on GIPS. So all the information that you will see is produced following these GIPS standards. Now, what we strive for in the Office of Investment Management is these 5 characteristics that you have in front of you. I have already spent some time on transparency, but we also strive to be effective. And effective is, as you remember, doing what we are expected to do. We also strive to be efficient, that it's to do what we are expected to do in the best cost-efficient way. We also strive to become transformational. We are part of the United Nations system, and what we want is to live and breathe by the United Nations values, and we have a methodology to track how transformational and aligned with the UN leadership framework we are. We also, as you could imagine, we're here to make the best investment decisions, but also to keep and maintain our investments safe. And finally, being part again of the United Nations family and being the stewards, the whole United Nations system, we are the stewards of the Sustainable Development Goals. Also, we include that characteristic in the investments that we perform. So I will go in a little bit of detail on each one of these characteristics, showing you the achievements that we have made. And I will also show you, for most of it, where you can see information on a weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, or annual basis to track the evolution of these characteristics that we work every day to deliver to all of you. Let me go to effectiveness first. And remember, the General Assembly has given the Secretary General the delegated authority to invest the assets of our fund. And the General Assembly has given us two metrics, two performance metrics that we have to deliver in order to maintain the fund healthy and sustainably in the long term. So there are two metrics that we have to fulfill. One is the short-term 3-year metric, right? And you might be surprised, but in an institutional investor that is focused on the long term, like us, the short term is 3 years, right? All the decisions that we make are focused on that 3 year. That is the shorter term definition in a long term organization like ours. So what we have to do in the short term is to be at or above the market benchmark that it's selected and approved by the General Assembly, right? The good news is that as of February, and I will show you the data, we are 10 basis points above the benchmark. So we have fulfilled the first metric that the General Assembly has on us. But we also have a second metric, which is the long-term 15-year real rate of return. The minimum rate of return that we have to fulfill, measured in 15-year period, is a 3.5% real rate of return. When I say real rate of return, for those of you that are not financial people, real means after deducting inflation, right? The first one is nominal. The real rate of return is after inflation. That's the minimum rate that we have to deliver. And the good news is that as of February 2024, that rate for our fund is 5.8%. So that means that we are 2.3 percentage points above the minimum rate that we have to maintain in order to become sustainable in the long term. And we will see the results a little bit later, how that translates into our funding ratio. In terms of effectiveness, also, the General Assembly has requested some additional information. So, for example, they ask us to do a comparison of our return, our cost, and the risk that we take to other pension funds. So we present to the General Assembly in October, when we have the session with the General Assembly, we present them an independent analysis showing the 5-year trend of returns and cost. We will come to that. The good news is that as of in the last report that considered the period from 2018 to 2022, our annual rate of return, nominal, was 4.2%, while the group of almost 300 pension funds around the world had a global median of 3.3, and a group of peers that are more comparable to us, according to this independent study, was 3.9%. So our return is above both the global median and the peer median. And there's also, Rosemary made allusion to the actuarial valuation. One of the things that we strive to is to be above the 100% relationship between assets and liabilities, because that determines, that is one of the metrics that determines the long-term solvency of our fund. The good news is that our assets are more than 10% higher than our liabilities. And I will show you also where you can find that and when you can track those numbers historically in our website. So we are effective. We're doing what we're expected to do, and we compare positively against the almost 300 pension funds around the world through this independent study. Let me show you now in the website where you can find this information. First, every week, if you want to monitor the performance and the value of our portfolio on a weekly basis, if you go to our website there in the address that it's shown there, you can go there every Monday afternoon, and you will see a report that we receive straight from our custodian bank on what is the value of our portfolio and the value of the soft portfolios. What you can see there, for example, as of the 15th of March, the market value of our portfolio was 90 $8.1 billion. If you just remember from the video that we showed you in the beginning, just in December, that value was 82. No, when we made that video, was $82 billion. We have had a very positive performance in the last 6 months. So now it's $90.1 billion. So for those of you that would like to monitor the value of the portfolio on a weekly basis, you can go and check it on a weekly basis. Now, you can also go and verify with more detail what is the performance of our portfolio on a monthly basis, right? You go there to our website as well, and there's a lengthy, very interesting report where you can see, for example, in the left side of the screen, you can see the evolution of the market value of our portfolio since 1990, I guess. You can see how the portfolio is structured in the different portfolios at that particular date. So for this report is as of February 29, and I will make a zoom to the box that you see on the right, because there was, for example, a question from one of the participants that we received in advance is, can we see how much of the portfolios, how much money of the investment portfolio is managed internally vis-a-vis how much is managed through external managers? So on a monthly basis, you could see there, for example, in the public equity, the dark blue box there, you can see that it's the internal active portfolio on public equities is something around 40%, while we have external managers managing actively the equivalent of 3.6% of the portfolio, right? In fixed income, also you can see that 31% of the portfolio fixed income is being managed internally, while only like 6.3% of the fixed income portfolio is being managed externally and passively. So every month you can see here the evolution of how much of the portfolio is being managed internally vis-a-vis externally. Now, also in that same report, so what I showed you in the previous slide was the first part of the report, but if you keep scrolling down in that report, what you would see is first the nominal rate of return. Remember, I told you that the first metric that the General Assembly uses to measure our performance is our nominal rate of return and compare it to the benchmark. What you can see for 3 years, if you remember that the short term. What you could see there is as of February, that the 3 years is 3.3%, the nominal rate of return, while the benchmark was 3%, right? So we're 20 basis points above the benchmark. And you can see also not only the 3 years, but we give you additional information so that you can see what is the trend on 1 year, but also what was the trend if we would measure it in 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. So there's a lot of information here to digest. You can see also on a monthly basis, you can see the second metric that the General Assembly uses to measure our performance, which is the long-term real rate of return. What you can see there in the table below, in the blue square, you can see for the 15-year period, that is the one that it's being used, the nominal rate of return was 8.5%. We know the inflation was 2.6%, and the real rate of return was 5.8. Again, well above the minimum 3.5% real rate of return that we need in order to remain fully funded. Now, on the comparison against our peers, every October, as I mentioned every October we receive the report from this independent organization called CEM, and the report is called the Investment Benchmarking Analysis. There was a question about what is the scope of this report that we get. It includes, and the reason why the General Assembly likes this report is that it allows the General Assembly to compare this pension fund against almost 300 global pension funds from 3 different perspectives. They can compare our return, the return of our investments, and by sub-asset class, vis-a-vis the performance of other pension funds, but also to compare the cost of our investment activities but also the risk that we take. So that is why the General Assembly likes this report and have asked us to deliver it every October when we have the session with them, because they can compare their return, their cost, and the risk that we are taking, and then make decisions. So you can always, every October, you can go to our website where it's here, and you can download the full report prepared by this independent party and understand better how our fund compares to other pension funds. Finally, Rosemary made the reference to the actuarial valuation. So every 2 years, this graph, what it shows you, and you can check it in our website, what it shows you is what we call the funding ratio. That means the division between assets and liabilities over the long term. So what you can see there is in the last actuarial valuation in 2021, we reached the highest relationship between assets and liabilities at 117%. This number will be updated in August after we go to the board and they approve the actuarial valuation, and we will have that next thought. The indications that we have is that number might be well above 110%. So, but you will be able to see this in August and for the figure of 2023, and then you will see 2025, the next one. But you can keep track of it and understand what is happening in terms of the solvency of our fund. Now, we are effective, right? We are doing what we are expected to do when managing the investments of our portfolio, but we're also doing it on a very efficient way. The third metric that the General Assembly uses to measure our performance is the total cost of investment. As I mentioned, based on that study that we get from an independent party, our total cost for 2022 was 32.7%. That is well below the benchmark cost. That is how much would be our cost for the things that we are consuming, but at the prices that our peers are paying for. So we're effective, we're efficient in the way we are procuring the services, but also the total cost, the total things that we are using are almost 30% below the peer median, because our peers are spending on average 45 basis points every year in order to manage the investments, while we pay only 32.7%. Once again, you can every October, because this is part of the package that we send to the General Assembly in October, and we share, of course, with you immediately on the website, you will be able to see in this October 2024 what will be the updated figure for 2023. So we're effective, we're doing what we are expected to do, and we do it very efficiently, almost 30% below the cost that our peers are paying for. I also told you that we strive to be transformational. We recognize that we're part of the United Nations system and that we are here to give all of you, all the potential beneficiaries and retirees of our pension fund, peace of mind. So we want to align ourselves to the United Nations leadership framework. For that, we have been working for 4 consecutive years with the UN Staff College. We have a lot of activities in order to improve our culture, but we measure it every year. What you can see there is, as of today, we have performed 3 surveys where we have good participation from our staff in the close to the 90%. And if you can see on the agreement rate, which is how close we are to be aligned to the UN leadership framework, we have increased from 60% to 76%. In May this year, we will do the 4th survey, and we are convinced that we will see a continuous improvement in this agreement rate. So what all this tells us is that the culture of our Office of Investment Management is steadily and continuously improving year after year, thanks to the dedicated teamwork that each one of our staff members are putting here. We also strive to be safe, right? And in order to get there, we do two very important ISO certifications. We are certified for cybersecurity. As you can imagine, being a fund of $90 billion, we are very exposed. So we have the best practices in order to protect us against cybersecurity issues, and we get certified by ISO every year. We also get a certification for business continuity, because what we want to make sure is that if anything happens, the funds that we are managing are accessible and are also maintain their value over time in any potential scenario, right? But we also, and something that is clearly related to safety, is we are adequately staffed, right? We are now a team of 165 committed staff members that take care of the investments of our fund. Just to give you an idea, just 4 years ago, when we arrived, we were 88. So we have doubled in size the number of team members in the Office of Investment Management. Let me take some time here, because there was a question that we received in advance about the separation throughout the last 2 years of 4 of our colleagues, and what could be the impact of the separation of these 4 staff members to the operations of the fund. Let me first take the first part, right? And probably some of you that are familiar with the United Nations Secretariat working methods, you will understand, but let me be a little bit more descriptive for some of you that are not part of the United Nations Secretariat. As you might know, whenever there is a presumptive action that a staff member have misconducted or have an undisciplined event, it becomes a complete independent investigation outside from the pension fund. So we have an organization called the Office of Internal Oversight Services, that is the equivalent of our internal auditors and investigators. They take control of the investigation. We, the management of the United Nations Pension Fund, we are not involved in that. OIOS, as we call it, they do their investigation, and then they pass it to the Administrative Law Division in the United Nations Secretariat, and between them, they gather all the evidence and they decide what is the sanction that they have to put to staff members. Of course, staff members, they always have the right to appeal those decisions, and only after the whole process, that again, it's conducted independently and externally from the pension fund, only when that process is completed, we will all know, including ourselves, we will all know what were the reasons why these 4 staff members were separated, not before that. Now, the second part of the question is, as you can imagine, of course, it was unfortunate that these 4 staff members were separated in the period of 2 years. But given that we're adequately staffed, we have a ISO certification of business continuity, we have not experienced any impact on the operations of the fund. And as I showed you in the previous slide, the culture of organization becomes stronger every year. Finally, and this is the last characteristic that you can see, you can have a lot of information on our website, is we strive to be responsible, right? Every investment decision that we take considers a lot of factors in order to be responsible. It has proven effective. We have the best grades from the Principles of Responsible Investment. We were recognized as the world's most responsible asset allocator. We have the net zero most ambitious targets and achievements, and we are signatories also of UNEP's biodiversity financial institutions commitment. We, as part of the improvement of our website, we have a whole microsite on sustainable investing. You can go to our website and see, for example, what is our approach to sustainable investment. You can see what the industries we are excluding from our investable universe. You can see how we are integrating our the ESG factors in our investment decisions. You can see also how we are performing our stewardship activities when it comes to voting in boards of organizations, but also engaging with organizations that are not fulfilling their sustainability metrics. You can see also what has been our journey on net zero, and you can also see what could be the impact of the climate risk scenario in our portfolio, right? But you also can see all the results on impact investing. So there's a lot of information here. Feel free to go through it. If you have any question, you know where you can go into the website to ask us any question. But we're very proud of this, right? And you can see there in the slide, as I mentioned, we were named the most responsible asset allocator by an independent initiative. And we have already decreased the carbon gas emissions in our portfolio by 39% compared to 2019. So as I told you, we have the most ambitious, not only goals, but results compared to all institutional investors. So this is the last part of it. As I told you, we strive every day. We work really hard. The whole 165 staff members in the Office of Investment Management to continuously and improve our transparency, to maintain our effectiveness and doing it efficiently. We want to stay being transformational and improve our culture every day, keep our safety of our portfolio also every day, and keep those certifications updated. And finally, keep evolving to stay the most responsible asset allocator in the world. So I'm going to stop here, Pilar, and thank you, Pilar, for accepting playing this role. And thank you, Rosemary, and all the team members on the pension administration and all the team members of the Office of Investment Management, because we are truly working as one pension fund for all of you, because what we want is that you all have peace of mind knowing that your pension fund, our pension fund, is well run and strong.
So, merci, gracias, thank you, Pedro and Rosemary, and thank you everybody for joining this town hall. This concludes the meeting, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Bye-bye.